I'm here to depict a broad overview of the major environmental and wildlife-related actions the second Trump administration through 2025 and 2026 has proposed, finalized, or pursued. Some are already in effect, while others are being challenged in court or are still in the rulemaking process. In regards to the Endangered Species Act, also known as ESA, narrowing the definition of harm so that destroying or degrading habitat is no longer automatically considered harming an endangered species. This could make it easier for logging, mining, oil and gas drilling, and development to occur in habitat used by protected species. Ending automatic protections for threatened species, requiring agencies to write separate rules before protecting applies. Critics argue this could leave newly listed species vulnerable for months or years. Reducing the scope of critical habitat designations, making it easier to exclude areas not currently occupied by a species, even if they are needed for their recovery. Giving greater weight to economic impacts when making habitat-related decisions. In other words, which is more important? Wetlands and waterways. Continuing to limit which wetlands and streams receive federal protection under the Clean Water Act, leaving many isolated wetlands without federal safeguards. National monuments and protected lands, reducing the size of Bears Ears and Grand Staircase Escalante national monuments in Utah, opening large areas to potential mining and energy development. The legality of these reductions is expected to be litigated. Seeking to weaken or rescind the BLM public lands rules, which had been placed conservation on equal footing with grazing, mining, recreation, and energy development. Public lands and energy development. Expanding oil and gas leasing in Alaska, including portions of National Petroleum Reserve, Alaska, and the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Supporting projects such as Ambler Road, which conservation groups argue could fragment wildlife habitat. Proposing expanded offshore oil leasing in several regions. In regards to national wildlife refuges, increasing hunting and fishing opportunities on some wildlife refuges, supporting broader predator management in certain areas. Predator control. In regards to this, supporting continued use of federal predator control programs, devices like M44 sodium cyanide ejectors remain controversial and heavily regulated, but there has not been a nationwide ban. Wildlife advocates continue to push for stronger restrictions. It is said that they have hurt pets, children, and killed unintended species than the predators. In regards to environmental review, they have been revising implementation of the National Environmental Policy Act, also known as NEPA, to streamline environmental reviews for infrastructure and energy projects, reducing some procedural requirements. In regards to climate and pollution, rolling back numerous EPA regulations related to greenhouse gas emissions and pollution as part of a broader deregulatory agenda. Court challenges. Many of these actions are not settled law. Environmental organizations, tribes, and several states have filed lawsuits challenging the new ESA definition of harm, reductions in monument protections, habitat rule changes, and other environmental rollbacks. The three changes that scientists and conservation organizations have identified as having the greatest potential impact are removing habitat destruction from the ESA's definition of harm, weakening protections for threatened species, and reducing federal protection for wetlands and streams. Please, if you have any way to spread the word or to contribute towards these lawsuits or to spread awareness in any way, please do so. Feel free to share my blurb on it.